Hello and welcome back to another video. We are, as you can see, if you have watched the video about the garage gym, I've got a little setup going on in here with some dumbbells, a squat rack, a bike, cables, a couple other different bits and pieces, and a rowing machine. So today's video is going to be on how to get the best out of the rowing machine. We did a video earlier on about the ski erg and it was highly requested that we did the rowing machine. Now the rowing machine is something that is so simple in principle, but you would be shocked at the amount of people that are doing it just with very little efficiency. It's not necessarily a massive problem because the rowing machine is typically just this little thing chucked into a gym session, you know, as a little circuit, something a wee bit different. But now that we're seeing a lot of people doing your Hyrox, hybrid games, CrossFit, loads of various different types of workouts where the rowing machine is involved, it's massively important that you become more efficient at using it. I would say that I have had very little efficiency on the rowing machine until very lately. It is something that I have been coached myself and I am doing a lot better on it. So we're going to take you through 3 things that I commonly see people do wrong, 3 fixes, and then we're going to show you 2 workouts that can help you get better. Let's go. First and foremost, actually understanding what is going on here can be half the battle. It's half the battle if the thing's actually going. Now, I am going to give you the simplified version of this. Up here, we've obviously got the time spent on the rowing machine. Down here, we have got the time per 500 meters projected. So the time that it thinks based on your current speed, you're going to hit per 500 meters. We've obviously got either the meters down here, we can have calories, there are a couple other different metrics that we'll not go into. And then this one's really important down here. So this is strokes per minute. Now this is going to be important for everything else that we talk about in this video because strokes per minute is one of the main things that people potentially get a little bit wrong. Another point that I think is really important is the damper. Now we spoke about this on the ski erg machine and it's important to just give everyone a reminder as to what the damper actually does. Now it's a lever on the side of the flywheel that adjusts how much air flows into the flywheel housing, so like everything within here. It is not like a bike gear. It does not directly change the resistance the same way that a bike or a treadmill might. Instead, it changes the feel of each stroke. With the flywheel, it's not necessarily like higher number is better or the lower number is better. You just need to understand which one's relevant for which workout. Now, if you're doing a workout where you are looking to build some strength and some power in your rowing with some shorter intervals, you might actually want to be a little bit higher, but if you're looking to do some endurance work, then you most definitely want to make sure that you're on a slightly lower damper. But context is key and you may want to pick anything from 1 to 10 based on the type of workout that you're doing. First problem is actually getting your feet into the thing. It's the biggest problem people have on the rowing machine is getting their feet in. Well, this is embarrassing. Hopefully this doesn't happen on Hyrox race day. 30 seconds taken getting your feet into the thing. 3 different challenges that people have when using the rowing machine that make it much more inefficient. It's not necessarily wrong, it's just inefficient and could be better. The first thing I see so many people doing is using too much of their upper body and pulling way too early. When they start the rowing machine, I'm going to show you some reps here. The forceful pull starts now, then the legs come back. So they're pulling and then using their legs, pulling, then using their legs. So what actually happens there is the majority of the force to create that movement is coming all from my upper body. When using the rowing machine, the part of your body that is the strongest and is going to create most of the force is your legs. It's that push there. That's where a lot of the force is coming through. So if we only use our arms, then we're missing out almost half of the power that we can create. We're still going to be using our legs, don't get me wrong, but we're just not using them to their best. And we're going to show you how to best fix that in the next part. Now, the next thing I see people doing wrong on the rowing machine is rushing the recovery. The recovery is when you go back to the start again. So the recovery is this stage here, coming back to the start. If I'm to show you that in real time, what rushing the recovery looks like, you'll instantly be able to tell if you've been doing this. It pretty much means that you've been going too fast and been going back and forward way too quick. So let me show you what that looks like. In theory, that could look like, yeah, I'm putting in tons of effort, I'm going really fast, and I'm good at the rowing machine. I'm doing some hard work here, and you would not be wrong. You will be doing some hard work. However, what happens now is on the screen right now, I've got 40 strokes per minute. Now, that's a lot. And that's a lot of intensity and a lot of back and forth. What any good rower will tell you is that that number should be a lot lower, and the recovery that you take is a massive part of how you maintain efficiency. Again, I'm going to show you how to fix that soon. The last point that we're going to try and fix on the rowing machine is actually to do with posture. On the rowing machine, it's very easy to be... Oh, my chair's broken. Whoa, where am I going? On the rowing machine, it's very easy to be in this kind of like hunched over position when you're rowing. And let me tell you, if you're on the rowing machine for a long time in that super hunched over position, what you do is you almost close the diaphragm and you stop yourself from being able to breathe and to be able to get your breath back. And again, to maintain efficiency if you're going for a long time. Other thing is that, you know, being in this crunched over position for too long, it doesn't really feel that comfortable, especially when you're working hard. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me spin around on my rowing machine. Those three things that people commonly do wrong are all interlinked. They're all in effect of each other. Pulling too early probably means that you're then going to rush the recovery. If you're rushing the recovery and pulling too early, it probably means your posture on the rowing machine is not going to be that great. It probably then means your stroke per minute is going to be super high. All in all, creating a very inefficient rowing machine technique. So to show you how to fix that, we are going to take the rowing machine al fresco, we're going to take it outside, and we're going to show you how to fix your rowing machine technique and become so much more efficient. Like we talked about, we don't want to be pulling too early and using too much arms on the rowing machine. The way that it should work is really straight arms. The arms are just the anchor. Legs push, hips come back, then the pull comes in. So legs first, straight arms, hips push back, then we start to pull. And you'll notice that I finish way further back. I'm not pulling from there with all my force. It's all one fluid movement. Legs, hips back, pull. And there's a lot more distance there. Now let me just show you a little bit of that in action. So the second phase of nailing those fixes for the rowing machine is the recovery. Now, the recovery is the one thing that kind of feels weird to do it this way, and it feels wrong because you're actually slowing down. But when we think about the long game and when we think about what it is that we're actually trying to achieve on the rowing machine, we want to be able to breathe, we want to be able to recover, we want to be able to have efficiency, especially in Hyrox. The rowing machine is a really good opportunity in Hyrox, especially if you're having a tough race, to actually gain a little bit of recovery. So if you can get your breathing going on the rowing machine and you can, you know, just generally get your heart rate down again, and that can be really good. And this is a way to do it. The recovery is this stage here. So it's the stage before you then return back to do the next rep. The majority of people, like we talked about, are right back into the next rep really quickly, so much so that they move the rowing machine. Didn't expect that to happen. So we should be thinking actually about 2-to-1 ratio with recovery to pull. So as we come back here, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. That's a little bit kind of like manufactured and rigid, and it wouldn't really look like that, and you probably wouldn't be saying it out loud like I was. So let me show you a little bit more like in real time how I would be rowing if I was rowing 1,000 meters at Hyrox. Now that little pause there in the full extended position just allows me that extra little second to catch a breath and to recover and to actually end up having a much stronger pull. Now you've got to think less strokes per minute, but stronger pull. Now that does not happen overnight. The first time I tried to start doing that, it was really hard and it felt unnatural, it felt wrong, and it felt like I needed to speed up again and I needed to get back to return to that rep. But in reality, if you can give yourself that minuscule little bit of recovery, you'll be in a much better place. Go and watch any of the CrossFit games, any professional like indoor rowers. You will notice that the majority of them, pretty much all of them, will have this strong kind of 2-to-1 ratio technique. And the third little fix we were talking about, again, connected to the first two, is your posture and trying not to slouch over on the rowing machine. If we get good at doing the you know, the 2-to-1 ratio with the recovery, and we pull all the way back here with that tiny little momentary pause, then we should be nice and upright. We should be really able to open up our chest. Well, like I said, if we're doing these really short pulls, there's a good chance that we're not in this position here. We're going to be really, really slouched over. You'll notice the difference pretty much instantly once you change. You're really able to open up your diaphragm and get some good air in and just recover that a little bit better. So a good little drill to get used to doing that is to actually be coming out here, pause, take a deep breath, and then come back. Just a really obvious pause, just to make sure that you're getting used to that technique, used to opening up your chest, used to sitting tall. So as a final note, I just want to show you the difference between 40 strokes per minute with some inefficient technique that's going to burn you out really quickly versus 20 strokes per minute with some bit more efficient technique, and just show you the difference of what they look like. And you might be able to find yourself on the spectrum of, you know, super kind of professional rower efficiency and super inefficient, just absolutely going for it with no thought whatsoever. So first of all, let me show you the bad technique. So that actually ended up being about 50 strokes per minute versus so a couple of pretty nice sessions that you can give a go to get better at this technique with the rowing machine. Well, there's two different pretty contrasting sessions that I would do. One of them would be simply just jumping on the rowing machine for 20-30 minutes, maybe even longer if you're a bit more experienced, and just really trying to pull at that low stroke per minute, around about the 18 to 25 marker on that, and just maintaining that super slow, efficient technique, working on the pause, working on the slow recovery, working on a slightly longer pull, using your legs and your hips for the power of the rowing machine. That's one session. And another little tip that you can use is if you've got headphones, you can actually use a metronome. There's a metronome app that you can use, which is typically used for running, and you can basically just put like a 2-to-1 ratio into that metronome app, and you can use that to really get your timings right. Second session would be to knock the damper up a little bit higher, so maybe talking about 7, 8, 9, and pull some 250 intervals. Now again, this is going to be a little bit harder and it's probably going to take a bit more out of you, but what you're going to do is you're still going to work on that extremely strong technique. So you're going to work on the strong pull, you're going to work on the recovery, but with the damper being higher, you're going to need to use a lot more strength and power. Now this can really help you build strength with your new technique, rather than what you would usually do when you're doing these short intervals, is you would do really quick back and forward, really high stroke per minute, and you know, it would just gas you out so quickly. Trust me, this technique is kind of hard to learn, and it takes a lot of almost discipline to start off with, to not find yourself going back to that old really fast and speedy technique. But over time, if you're able to implement it, it definitely does help. You'll find yourself coming off the rowing machine and any circuits that you're doing, or any Hyrox or any CrossFit, and you know, you'll probably come off that feeling just that little bit better. And as per usual, thank you to our sponsors at Fraser's Body Shop for sponsoring the YouTube channel, initially for Chicago, but still our main sponsor for the YouTube channel. Also a couple of different shout outs to some of the new brands that we're working with. Well, we already work with Strength Shop, who are Scotland-based gym equipment brand that ship stuff all over the world. If you're needing some new gym equipment, then they're the place to go. We've also recently linked up with Fly Carb, so they're a bicarbonate supplement supplier. Bicarbonate of soda is an interesting supplement which you cannot just take out of your cupboard and take the normal bicarbonate of soda. It will make you feel like absolute shite, and they've got a specific special blend which is blended with an energy mix, and it's really good for, you know, Hyrox race day, running race day. If you don't know too much about bicarb and its effects, then I'm going to do a video very soon on that, because I've used it in the last couple of races that I've done, and all I can say is that there was too much of a difference for it to not have had an effect. I'm not giving myself all that credit for how good I felt during that race. See you on the next YouTube. Goodbye.